Hello humans. I'm going to turn this Hulk figure into Bizarro, an alternate universe version of Superman. He's generally depicted as a heavier set version of Superman, a bit rough around the edges, not quite right. The logo on his chest is in reverse, and he's often been depicted with grey, zombie-like skin and quite dishevelled. Often the costume is also of different colours, grey and purples, but I'm going to depict my version with the traditional Superman colours. He's just going to be a lot grungier. This particular version of the Hulk came with an alternate head, which I'm not too keen on, so I'm just using a head from another Hulk figure. He gives me a better look to Bizarro. He has all the sculpted details for a Superman, so I think he's going to do quite nicely, and we'll see how we go. I'm going to start off by roughly sketching out the logo or the emblem on his chest, and this will give me a bit of an indication as to where I'm going to place it. Just a rough sketch, just to give me an idea of what it's going to look like. Now I've got to put him to the grinding wheel, take off some of these rough edges, smooth it out a bit so I can prepare it for putting the milliput details on and taking away some of the unnecessary details that Superman's costume doesn't have. So now that I've mapped out where the logo is going to sit, I'm just going to transfer some pre-prepared milliput and make a sculpted relief version of the logo, not just painted. It's going to be sculpted on. Of course, it's a back to front logo. It's a little bit fiddly, and it took me a while to get it to some sort of a acceptable standard, which I obviously aren't going to show it all here, but you get the idea. Now I'm just smoothing out, trying to get a more uniform look to the logo, using some silicone tipped tools and just trying to get it to look more like the classic Superman logo, although it's in reverse. And now it's time to have a go at doing starting on the belt, beginning with the belt buckle. This is pretty simple, just an oval shaped dot, squashed down and then hollowed out. Fill in the areas of the pants that have been torn, just to make them look more uniform, and also cover up the toes and create the wrist cuffs on his uniform, and then file it back once it's cured, smoothing it out a bit so it blends a lot more seamlessly, and a bit of sanding on the logo as well, just to make it more presentable. Creating the boot cuffs. Again, it's just using like a snake of milliput and then blending it into the leg with my fingers and other tools. also a bit of water goes a long way too. Shaping out the V cut in the top of the boot cuff, which is synonymous with Superman's boots. And also putting in some finer details. I've got to sculpt his undies, and I make them a bit baggy, just to cover up that ugly groin gap for the articulation that he's no longer going to have. And also the collar on his costume as well, around the neckline. Quite a pronounced collar. Blending it in, much the same as I did the boot cuffs and the wrist cuffs. All to create the illusion that he's wearing some sort of costume over his body. Don't forget to smooth out those rough edges with a little bit of water on your finger. Here it is, all sprayed, uniform looking. It gives me a good idea of how it's going to look before I actually paint it. First colour, the yellow in the logo and on the belt. This took quite a few coats to stop the grey from coming through, but I eventually got there. Same process with the red on the undies as well, and on the logo. A couple of coats of red, just to give us a nice solid look. And, it's all coming together. I've gone with a lightish blue on the rest of the costume. Superman is often depicted in lots of different blues, but I've chosen a lightish one, and then I'm going to give it a darker wash down the track. Naturally, this also took a couple of coats to get a nice solid colour. Now I've mixed a bit of darker blue paint with some black shoe polish to give it a greyish blue look. I'm going to liberally apply this all over and then wipe off the excess in a wiping and dabbing motion to create a texture over the surface. And it'll bring out all the lovely sculpted detail and the musculature and really make it pop. This will also darken the overall light blue colour to a more acceptable darker blue version, although still retain all of that lightness anyway. It's a big difference you can see here. It really brings out all that sculpted musculature. Certainly makes it look much more interesting. He's got an overall grimy finish because Here's Bizarro, and he's a not quite right Superman, a little bit dirty. Now I've got to paint the skin tones, just using a Tamiya flat flesh colour, and so I'm going to be painting the neckline and the hands and the face. A couple of coats there too. Just giving it an all-over paint. I'm not too worried about getting the flesh colour on the hair because I'll be over-painting that anyway. And I've gone for a flesh colour because my version of Bizarro isn't going to be the grey and purple version. It's going to be quite more closely resembling Superman. And a bit of brown wash over the red areas with brown shoe polish. Simply just brushing it on, and then I'm going to dab it off. And the same treatment to the skin tones, just to make the sculpt pop and give them a grimier look. Method really brings out all those lovely sculpted lines in the frown lines and the mouth area and the chin and the nostrils. Really makes it stand out. Same treatment on the hands, just gives you an overall grimy look and shows up all the imperfections in the skin and the detail on the sculpt. Just brush it on and wipe it off. Once that's dried, I'm going to paint the whites of his eyes very, very carefully, and also give the hair that typical black colour that Superman has. And a boot wash as well, just to tie it all in with the rest of his uniform, his costume. And I'll be dabbing off the excess just to create a texture as if it's almost like leather. Time for the cape, and I've just roughly mapped it out using the figure as a guide to see how much length and width I need, and I'm just going to be shaping it until I get it to the desired shape. by folding it in half and then cutting it to shape, I get a nice symmetrical finish. Just gluing the pleated shoulder areas to create that cape look. I must admit it was a bit fiddly, but I got there in the end. And then now it's time just to glue it to the figure. And then give it a weathering treatment with brown shoe polish, painting streaks through the folds just to create more depth and dimensionality. It runs through the entire figure, so I had to carry it on into the cape as well, so it looked like it belonged. I'm going to grimy up the cape as well to make it look a little bit dirty, just like the rest of the character, because again, he's not quite right Superman. So there you have it, humans. This is Retro Rocket Man showing you another custom conversion of a Hulk figure into Bizarro. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.